road in Will Rogers' van, seeing every sight that we possibly can. White line that leads to historical thrills. 'Cause I'm cruising 66 and I'm road tripping with Will.
Well, welcome to lesson 30, chums and pals and friends. Well, hello guys, another sweaty day, but now I'm in the van and I'm kind of doing what is going to be like a live episode, or a not live episode of road tripping with Will. Cue music, cue it. Somewhere in there we'll cue it. So I figure I'd cruise in my old Vanarooski and kind of show you around the town. Of course, you know, you've seen it. It's real gross right now. Not my fault. But, you know, we're ready to rock. So I'm going to take you on some shots and some spots. And then I told you I'd take you to Will's parents' grave. Kind of take you by a couple other spots. But this will be a live version for your lesson 30. Come along. I've got my fresh coffee. It's still lukewarm. It's actually not too bad. Hair's going to stay down because we're just feeling good. Oh, and I got about 1.5 inches cut off, so you're more than welcome to comment down below. I don't know what that means. Guys, welcome to History Humanities 4213 for a little trip called Road Tripping with Will. Of course, Will Rogers America class, the last lesson. Swigging on my coffee. Let's take a look and we'll follow along. See ya on the road. Here we go. Never met a traffic cone I didn't like. Actually, hate him. See you soon.
I went through another thing once with him, I remember. I had to carry a chicken down the street, a crowded street, and the chicken was, you know, it was kind of hard to do, and he finally said, you know, you're holding it the wrong way. He said, if you hold that chicken the right way, you won't have trouble. And I said, what is the right way? He said, I don't have many ideas.
Folks, you can't ask for a better cruise. We're heading down Highway 88. And if you ever want to head down to Will Rogers' birthplace ranch, well, this is the street or road to take. But before we head to the birthplace ranch, I'm going to take you to where Will kind of grew up. You know, Maud, his sister, Sally, well, they lived in Old Chelsea. So that's where we're going to be heading here in just 1 second. All right, see you there.
Oh, did anyone ever tell you how really he concentrated on that little column that he had in the paper? No. How he would sit with his typewriter between his knees, and you know, they'd be ready for him to work, and he couldn't concentrate on the picture at all if he got that thing off in the mail that day, you know. And he'd sit there and chew his glasses, till he had, the wings would always be chewed down, so there'd be this much left. And then he'd start chewing on the other side, so he didn't have enough to hang him on his ears.
Good heavens. Now, acting with him, I understand, was not the easiest of things because he didn't stick to the script.
He didn't stick, no, he did not. He always improved upon it. But you know, you were just ready for it, and you just had to play with him, that's all.
Well, in the silent films,
of course, in the silent pictures, you could say anything, as long as you got the proper expression.
Yeah.
But the thing that was difficult, and it was oh so hard, you would not want to laugh, of course, because that would spoil the whole thing, so you had to hold it in and wait until the scene was over. And the moment the director said stop, the whole place, carpenters, electricians, all the mechanics, everybody would scream with laughter, because it had been so darn funny, and it hadn't been so much better than was written in the script, you see. So you just had to swallow your laughter and carry on until the director said cut.
He was a great showman. There's no doubt about it. You know.
And you know, he never had a contract with Ziegfeld or any of these people. He wouldn't sign a contract. He said, if my word's not any good and theirs not any good, then there's no deal.
We're waiting here at the stoplight, and we're about to get on Route 66, dare I say, Will Rogers Highway. Did you chant it with me? 1952, Will Rogers Highway, rebranded. Of course, 1926 is when Route 66 was my first, I guess, birthed, come into play. And then, of course, 52, revamp it, recall it, and call it Will Rogers Highway, after the man who bridged those gaps. And the man, they said, maybe the street that took him from Oklahoma to fame, even though it wasn't around. He was already famous by then. But my friends, we are on Route 66. We'll get a shot here in just 1 second.
Check out the newest item to our collection. This is a rare Disney sketch with our very own Will Rogers and Mickey Mouse. This is from the 1933 Disney short Mickey's Gala Premiere. Will Rogers and Walt Disney were pals, so it's no surprise that Will is featured in this cartoon. In this short, Mickey's newest movie is premiering at Grauman's Chinese Theater, with many Hollywood stars in the audience. After the film ends, a shy Mickey is roped and pulled on stage by Will Rogers. This cool piece will be part of a new exhibit soon, so stay tuned.
Hauling down Route 66. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're heading towards Chelsea. We're on Route 66. And of course, like we said, Will Rogers Highway, we've said many times, 1952. Of course, about Cyrus Avery is one of the bigger names that comes up with Route 66, but here we go. See you in a few.
Congratulations, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Congratulations to you. Congratulations, your picture show was fine. It's a hit, and we want to shake your hand. Congratulations, happy days to you. You've sure brought down the house, and we hope you have a lot of success. Congratulations, Mickey Mouse.
You're wonderful, wonderful, marvelous. I think I kiss you now.
All right, friends, well, we are getting into the Chelsea Cemetery here in Chelsea, Oklahoma. And obviously we're taking a real slow go through here. And since I'm in my Willmobile, we'll be able to pull up right up here and be able to get out. And I'll show you who's all here. And again, remember, you know, Will's mother was originally buried at the ranch, and so she would eventually be brought here, but originally she was buried here. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out, and we'll start the video back here in just 1 second. All right, so here is Mary and Clem Rogers. Of course, it's a very windy day, but it's very, very beautiful today. So there is the Willmobile right there. Of course, just very peaceful and pristine out here, out in Chelsea, Oklahoma. So this is the final resting spot, and I figure, you know, we start with Will, but we end it with his parents, and kind of, you know, talk about the importance of these two. And you know, we talk about how everybody said they could feel it in every handshake that he shook and every word that he said. And for me, that's a big part of growing up, is, you know, who's teaching you how to be that person, who's inspiring you. So again, I love that they're, again, it says Clement Van Rogers. We'll go over here to Clem first. Of course, Clem Van Rogers right there. Our father, January 11th, 1839. October 29th, 1911. A loving father and a faithful friend. Of course, that's the final resting spot of Clem Van Rogers. Okay, over here is Mary. We know she died in 1890, when Will was 10. There's Mary Rogers, born October 9th, 1839. Both his parents were born in 39, met in Tahlequah. Of course, became married, and, had the ranch, and, of course, Mary had to go away and take the children to Bonham, Texas during the Civil War. It says aged 50 years right there. October 9th, 1839. May 28th, 1890. Okay. Interred in this plot. Let's see if we can get over here. 3 of 8 children: Clem Van Rogers, Mary Scrimshire, Homer, Robert, Zoe. And of course, let's see if we can get on here. Yeah, it just kind of tells the rest of the family there. So, Homer, Robert, and Zoe, and Elizabeth. Sally Rogers McSpadden, interred in Chelsea. We'll see that in a second. Elizabeth and Rogers plot near Westville. Of course, out there in Adair County. I showed you that's the marker where Robert Rogers was at the very beginning of class. Maud is here. Sally's here. May is in Oologah. Betty, of course, in Claremore, and Will in Claremore, right? We'll finish up there as well. So there you go. I wanted to be able to see that and kind of spend a moment out here with Will's parents. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a second. And there is Clem McSpadden and Donna McSpadden. Clem Rogers McSpadden, of course, was the congressman, the rodeo announcer. Of course, grew up in the house that Will grew up in. And, of course, was raised as a cowboy and discovered Reba McEntire. So all those connections, as well as, the name McSpadden, Sally, of course, marrying into the McSpaddens, but just very neat to see both of those connections full circle, like we talked about. Clem being such a national presence in the rodeo and the NFR, and of course, taking Reba with him to National Final Rodeo in 1974. And of course, she writes about that in the Ford. So I love those connections there. But better yet, Clem Rogers McSpadden just was a great guy. His book, of course, The Cowboy's Prayer, very influential still to this day. Donna McSpadden, what a great lady. Met her many times. They brought me into the house, showed me Clem's office. Their son was named Bart, and of course, she just treated me with great hospitality. So there is Clem Rogers McSpadden.
Will Rogers Museum, it's different.
My guy's Riz is fire.
Will was legit, no cap.
Main character, energy.
Low-key flex.
Slay.
Woody understood the assignment.
Slay.
Smo.
We are amped for you to visit.
Well, friends, we are here with the car at the pedestrian bridge. I don't know if you can see it behind me there. You like that YouTube trick right there? I'm pretty good. Send me a slice of pizza as well, bro. So probably in a good mood. Let's try it again. Hi, I'm Bart Taylor, Buckaroo Bar, Professor Bar. Welcome to the pedestrian bridge. Right off of Route 66. Of course, this was historical Pryor Creek Bridge, was built here in 1926. Original part of the Route 66, 123 feet in length, total width of 19 feet. Pryor Creek Bridge is the only remaining unaltered example of the modified Pratt-through truss design in the state of Oklahoma. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Inscribed on the concrete at the top of the southwest embankment is Oklahoma CHC 1926, which is a reference to Oklahoma State Highway Commission.
Pryor Creek Bridge in Chelsea, Oklahoma was added to the National Historic Register of Places September 6, 2006. No, I don't have this memorized. It's on this sign right here. YouTube trick number 13,000. And then check this out right here. YouTube trick number 13,000 again. Look at that. We'll reverse here. There we go. Right there, folks. Booyah. See if it goes down there and right. Yep. Yep, I'm gonna walk up here a little bit. Sorry about that. Pryor Creek Bridge, original historic Route 66, 1926, Oklahoma Highway Commission. There's the original piece right there of Route 66. Of course, how beautiful is all that? I'm the only one that said in Oklahoma, state of Oklahoma, part of the original route. And in 1952, we call it Will Rogers Highway. So this will be visited by probably millions over the next couple years at least. Lots of Europeans come through here, folks from Japan, all over. They visit Route 66, aka Will Rogers Highway. And of course, how cool is it that it runs through where Will was born and raised? Not only in Chelsea, but in Oologah. So, just want to take you out here, kind of see a little field trip, and we'll conclude all of this back at the museum when I see you guys here pretty soon. Thanks.
Will It Spin, where we find out if random objects can do the flat loop spin. Howdy folks, it's your favorite drugstore cowboy, Buckaroo Bart, and I'm here with my Twizzlers. We're going to snap it to a Twizzler pull and peel and see if this bad boy Twizzler will do the old flat loop spinner. Stay with us, we're going to twizz and we're going to lure here in just a bit.
We're going to do 2 ways.
Folks, I'm dang near flabbergasted here. There's a challenge of floating around, and you know what? I think she needs to skedaddle out of here. We're going to figure out if these Twizzies work. We're going to figure out if that flat loop spin works. My way or her way?
My way.
We're going to get going either way. Bad boy Bart over here knows how to put them together, and I'm going to go ahead and put them together the correct way, as she will put them together the wrong way. Here's the right way with toothpicks, of course, and of course we'll try her random view.
Rachel here. My suggestion was to pull the pieces apart and then stick them together to form a long, skinny rope. You are trying to cheat and reinforce your joints?
Yeah, I take Cosequin.
Which method do you think is better?
I feel that the bigger rope will be unsuccessful because the weight of the rope is just going to be a little too much.
Ladies and gentlemen, look at this nice rope. As it's falling apart as we speak, you know it's going to work. Rachel will fail. Let's say it together.
No, this is your way.
Thank you so much. Listen, flat loop, Twizzy style. Here we go. It works, folks. Look at that. Oh!
It worked
Knee
for a
slapper.
minute. No sabotaging it.
She did the pull apart routine. I think it's going to fail. Fail, 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 fail. Flat loop. It works. Look at this. Worked. Also worked.
Howdy, folks. Michael Wallace here. In 2026, we celebrate the centennial, the one and only Route 66. For a century, this ribbon of asphalt has stitched together a nation, carrying dreams and bearing witness to the profound evolution of the American spirit. I've spent a good part of my life chasing stories down old roads, but none speaks as clearly as this one. Before it was a song or a slogan, the road carried another name, the Will Rogers Highway. When the road was officially designated in his honor, it wasn't just about geography. It was about character. Route 66 runs through the American heart. In the 1930s, it was a road of survival for Dust Bowl refugees heading west. During the war years, it was a major conduit, moving GIs and equipment to front lines. In the post-war era, it became a road of freedom for families on their first grand vacations. And today, it remains a pathway to possibility. Will Rogers understood America because he understood the journey. He saw the humor, the struggles, and the triumphs that played out across the vast land. Let's remember the spirit that paved it, the spirit of discovery, of community, and of an Oklahoma cowboy who helped us see ourselves a little clearer. So hit the road, folks. Explore a piece of history. Keep your eyes open and carry a bit of Will's wit with you. Happy Centennial, Route 66.
I don't know, ain't it funny? No matter what we pay, I don't care whether we pay high taxes, low taxes, medium taxes, or no tax, anything. The yell is always the same. Of course, we know our government is costing us more than it's worth, but do you know of any other cheaper government that's running around now? I mean, do you? I mean, if you do, I mean, they'll sell you a ticket there anytime. You can try Russia. There's no income tax in Russia, but there's no income. Now the whole question is, how can we make such a holler on what the government wants to collect back from us, you know? I don't know what it's all about. This is just to kill time up here till something else comes out. I don't know any more about this thing than an economist does, and God knows he don't know anything.
Stay tuned for our next episode and join us for another adventure as we go road tripping with Will.